Friends, tonight, this is the debut of a new show that I'm starting with my friend John. The name of the show is How Can You Say That?
No, you got it wrong already. It's how can you say that? Don't you see the difference? The difference of where the emphasis is? One sounds like relatively restrained, the other one sounds like, oh my God, what the hell did he just say?
I think you guys are getting an idea of how this show is going to go down.
Try it again. Try it again.
But tonight, our topic is California, the place that I'm from, versus New York.
The place that I'm from.
And tonight, we are going to be talking about which place we think is better. And clearly, California is way
Oh, we
better.
start already. First of all, we're not talking about it. We're going to be arguing about it. There's a big difference between talking and arguing.
Okay, fine. So let's do this then.
Okay, so let me say one thing. By the way, I'm not actually going to be arguing because people may be listening to this thinking that we're going to have a fight over which is better, whether it's California or New York. In reality, I'm fully prepared to start trashing New York because although I grew up here and New York used to be wonderful, right now it's far from it. It actually sucks. So we're going to talk about all the bad things about New York, and then you'll talk about the good things about California, and we'll have all the New Yorkers migrate over to California and get out of here. And that, by the way, will take care of some of the problems like traffic, congestion, all that stuff.
Well, that's exactly how Californians feel about everybody else who comes to California.
So my motivation for this podcast is to move as many New Yorkers out of state to California. I want a big migration. You know how people coming up from the Mexican border into all the border states? I want everything to go from New York into California.
And I believe Californians are going to kill me because we want all of people that are not from California to get the hell out. So we have a problem, John.
Well, actually, no, your governor is actually doing a really good job of that on his own.
Would you leave our governor alone?
No, I mean, he's extremely handsome. Don't get me wrong. Very handsome man, great hair, everything. But from a policy perspective, I think he's chasing a lot of people right out of the state. The unfortunate part is many of them are coming to our state. So really, New York should close the border to all California residents and not allow any of them in. But we're more than happy to move as many New Yorkers, as I said, out of here and into California.
So, John, how long have you lived in California?
Never. I live in New York.
It's really rich.
Thank you for paying attention. Yes.
It's really rich that you have an opinion of a place you've never lived in.
I've been to California. I've been there multiple times, actually.
John, passing through California?
No, I didn't pass through. Okay. I was there for 10 days at a time, each time. And I think I was there 3 times, starting at San Francisco, working my way all the way down to San Diego. So I've been through California.
You've been through California. You passed through like the wind. You have no idea of what living there is like if you're just passing through.
I'm not so sure I want to have an idea what it's like to live there. I mean, I liked LA. Don't get me wrong. I liked LA a lot. LA very much reminded me of New York. The good parts of New York, and the climate was beautiful, very scenic, very pretty. I liked all that. And that's the one place I could have seen myself living outside of New York, would have been in LA. The problem is if you were in LA, I wouldn't be able to live there. Then I have to leave. But if you are not in LA, then I'm more than happy to give it a shot.
I have that much power. I mean, I'm really happy
Very powerful.
that I have that much power.
Well, based on your notoriety, we'll say, in California, I believe you do have a good degree of power, celebrity status. In fact, I can't even believe that you lowered your media standards to even do this with me. It's almost insulting to you.
Well, you know, I like to cater to all
Oh.
because I'm not better than any. So
this is basically what you're referring to as a charity podcast. Are you doing this for, you're going to take the tax write-off or something, spending time with me doing this?
yeah, I'm not going to reveal all the secrets about
God.
why I'm doing this, but I think that we are off to a good start because you've already made it clear that you make judgments on things you don't know.
Absolutely. Yes.
Huh.
Very
So-
harsh judgments, in fact.
So what would stop you from going to live in California if you had a chance?
So many things. I kind of look at New York to California almost as a lateral move. So if you're going to relocate, you're going to go through the trouble of selling your house, moving your job, family, whatever it is, there has to be sort of an upside to doing that. So why would I do this as a lateral move? The politics in New York and California are basically the same, insane. So I'm not moving for political reasons. I wouldn't necessarily be moving for career reasons. California still has a state income tax, just like New York, where they just rob you and pickpocket
But I
you.
think it's higher in California.
Oh, great, even better. So there's a solid reason not to go. Thank you. Add that to the list. So I looked at my paycheck the other day from my regular job, and I looked at what I paid in New York State income tax, and I said to myself, am I out of my fucking mind? Florida, no state income tax. I think Texas, no state income tax. I could be making that up about Texas, I'm not 100% sure. Nevada, no state income tax. Why am I living in one of the highest state income taxes state in the country? And
Yes, why are you?
okay, well, again, this is what I wake up every morning trying to think about and wonder why. But you're asking me about why would I not move to California? Same thing. Like I said, it's lateral. So if I can save myself X amount of dollars by locating out of state to Florida, let's say, sure, that's something to consider. But there's no advantage as far as I see, going lateral.
So
it's sort of like, let's say you're married, or let's say you're seeing someone, and an opportunity comes along that's different, but basically the same. Why change? Why make the change? But if something comes along that's really better, then it's a whole different story. That's the way I look at that.
I see. Well, this is what I have to say on it. I'm a very aesthetic person.
Yes.
I like things beautiful and clean and neat.
Thank you for explaining that,
And
because I
I
actually didn't even know
swear,
what that meant. Yeah.
When you come into jail, well, there's some people who might not know what I'm trying to say. So it's not all about you, John.
Thank you for
Whenever
reminding me of that all
I
the time.
arrive at JFK, whenever I fly into New York and I land in that airport, I feel like I am in a zoo.
You are.
I mean, what the heck is up with that?
You just landed in a third world airport. That's exactly what you did. It's disgusting. It's filthy. The people there are disgusting and repugnant. There's absolutely nothing appealing about JFK. And by the way, if you're going to then take a cab or an Uber to Queens or to Brooklyn, it's just equally as horrible. It's disgusting. Now let's talk about Manhattan, right? Everyone loves Manhattan. You've been to Manhattan, I'm assuming, many times.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. Why have you been to Manhattan? What did you do?
Because I have friends and there's
Friends.
there are things going on in Manhattan that are not necessarily happening in other parts of New York.
Yeah, so let me tell you some of the things going on in Manhattan.
Tell me.
Rapes, robberies, murders, pickpockets.
Can I ask you, which big city doesn't have all of the above?
See, but that's the problem. Okay, but what do these big cities have in common that have all these crime problems?
Tell me. You know, John.
Oh, I think you know. You do know.
Tell me. I don't know.
We're going to save that for another podcast, but I'm going to give you just a little bit of an inkling on that. Liberal politics. That's where it starts. Now, let's talk about Manhattan for a second. Let me just interrupt for a second and focus on Manhattan specifically, okay? When we had, back in the 70s and 80s, which was probably before you've ever been to Manhattan, in the 70s and 80s, Manhattan was an absolute disgusting hellhole, okay? You would go to like Times Square. It was basically just an invitation to get murdered. You go to 42nd Street. 42nd Street was just, you went there for drugs, prostitution, you want fake IDs, anything that a delinquent would do, you would go to 42nd Street. Great place to hang out in the 80s as a kid, as a teenager. I spent many Sundays there, loved it. But once we had a normal mayor come in, which was Giuliani, who's not normal now, so don't get all crazy.
I'm so happy that you...
Don't jump on me just yet. I said he's not normal now, but at the time, he was normal. And what did he do? He cleaned up the city. He went after all these small quality of life crimes. And the statistics show that the people that commit the small quality of life crimes also are the ones that commit the bigger crimes. So when you get people for fare evasion on the subways and you frisk them down, all of a sudden you find the gun, you find this, you find that, you find drugs on them. So I think it was called the broken windows policy, which was going after the small crimes in order to prevent the big ones. He cleaned up the city. Now, unfortunately, he shut down a lot of the fun things to do in the city, like we did in the 1980s, all on 42nd Street.
But it was all required to clean it up, right? It's hard to clean it up if you don't.
Yeah, well, that was one of the downsides. But getting people off the street that were committing the crimes really enhanced the quality of life. And he did a couple of terms. Then Bloomberg came in and basically followed his policies. And Manhattan really became a safe place to go where you can go with your family and actually really have a great day. Now, when my kids ask me, can I go to the city for the day? I go, how are you getting there? Well, we take the train to the subway. No, you're not. No, I don't need to have a funeral tomorrow with my daughter or my son getting murdered. And if you look, you go onto
That
YouTube.
is such a pessimistic.
It's the
view,
truth. Go
John.
onto YouTube and look for the montages of crime in the city. People randomly, homeless people just pushing people onto the subway tracks for no reason, unprovoked. The subways are filled with the mentally ill, the homeless. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But unfortunately, that's the reality that we're dealing with because of all of the politics in the city not going after criminals and crime. It's terrible.
So you know that 80% of the people I encountered when I was in New York were telling me that San Francisco should be abandoned because we have a homeless problem there.
Huge homeless problem.
Half of the people I spoke with who told me this have never visited California. It really is interesting to me to discover how many people have opinions about places they never actually visit.
Is there no homeless problem in San Francisco?
Let me finish, John. I am from San Francisco. No, I didn't live in San Francisco. I lived in Silicon Valley. But I have a daughter in San Francisco. I visit San Francisco frequently. And there is a homeless problem. But you know where all of these homeless people come from? The
New York?
majority? Yes.
Well, better in your
can't-
state than mine.
You can't live on the street in New York in your winters because you'll die. You'll be frozen to death.
That's why they generally live in Penn Station.
California has the perfect weather, the perfect everything.
Yeah.
And so everyone goes to San Francisco. So, you know,
Because of the climate.
our problem is a trickle down from your problem.
Okay, so actually, essentially, then what you're doing is you're agreeing that if we took care of our problem here, it by nature would take care of the problem there. So let's talk about that.
Okay, before we go there, we have a lot of brilliant minds in the political world,
Yes.
right? Don't you think if it was an easy solution, it would have been solved by now?
So that's such a good point, and it is an easy solution. That's a problem.
Okay, then tell us, John.
Okay, so
somebody
the
listening.
problem is that the people in power don't have the right policies to fix the problems. So let me give you an example, okay? You take Governor Abbott in Texas, right? Who I'm sure you hate. I'm sure everyone in California
you
hates him.
telling me who I hate now?
Do you hate him?
I don't hate anyone.
Do you very harshly dislike him?
I don't harshly dislike anyone.
Do you love Governor Abbott?
I may not love him, but I have compassion for everyone.
Do you like him and his policies?
And I just try.
Answer the question, yes or no, before I shine a bright flashlight in your face and interrogate you. Do you like Governor Abbott? This is an easy question. See, this is the thing with people that are more liberal. They can't answer questions. You ask me a question. Go ahead, ask me a question. I'll give you an answer. Go ahead, ask me a question.
Why do I need to tell
Ask me a
you?
question.
Why?
Ask me if I like Joe Biden. Ask me.
I know how you feel about Joe Biden, so I wouldn't even.
But
ask you.
I will tell you how I feel about anything if you ask me. There's no dancing around anything.
I am not dancing.
Ask me a
around.
question and I'll give you an answer.
Hate is a very intense emotion. It's not a good emotion, and I don't participate in those types of emotions. I may not agree with someone, but because I do not agree with them, is not a reason for me to hate.
So you don't
them.
hate anybody?
No, I don't
Okay,
hate
so let's say,
anybody.
God forbid, there was a situation where your daughter was in Manhattan. God forbid, I'm saying, and a homeless guy pushes her on the track.
She's had that happen.
Gets hit by a train. You're telling me you're not going to feel hatred for that homeless person? You're going to
No.
feel compassion for them?
No, I
They did
won't
you a
feel-
favor by pushing
I
your daughter in front of a train? That was a good thing?
No, I would
So what the
not.
hell are you talking about?
I would be angry.
It's okay to hate certain people that do
No,
bad shit.
I'm sorry, I don't do hate, and I will not do hate.
I'll make you hate
You
me by
know
the time this
what?
podcast
Yes.
is over.
You're probably gonna be the only one I hate. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with hate. When you hate, and you hate because someone has hurt you,
Yes.
you're giving them permission. Again, they still have power over you. You don't hate, not for them, for you.
Okay.
You may be hurt and you may be angry, but you don't hate. You never hate. So if you're listening to this, you think I'm nuts, that's fine.
I thought we were doing a
I am-
podcast. I didn't realize I'm in the psychological evaluation
Yeah,
right
you
now with
asked
the
me a
therapist.
question. If you don't like the answer, that's not my problem.
It is a good answer. I accept your answer.
Okay.
I do. It is good.
So
So let's
carry
go
on.
back to Governor Abbott, who you clearly hate. Now, Governor Abbott made a very interesting point. He decided to take all of the illegals, well, not all, he took many of the illegals that crossed the border from Mexico, wherever they were, whether they were Mexicans, El Salvador, whatever they came from, Venezuela, put them on buses and sent them to New York, right? Now, the funny thing is, New York,
It's already a zoo.
well, it is. Excuse me, can you not insult my state? What the hell is wrong with you? That's so mean. How could you say something? You see, how can you say something like that? That's every time we
That's
say
the
something.
name of-
How can you say something like that?
That's the name of the
Okay, so you just, okay, now you triggered me. Okay, so what he did in actually a brilliant, absolutely brilliant method was he took all of these illegals, and I'm not saying that I don't feel bad for the illegals. I do, because if things were so good for them, they went to left wherever they're from,
Right,
okay?
right.
But he put them on buses and started shipping them to New York. Now, the funny thing about that, what does New York say? New York and all of these places like in California also, we are sanctuary cities, right? Sanctuary cities means come on over. You're here illegally.
Exactly.
We welcome you. Open arms. Come on in.
So stop making
But-
false declarations.
But right, the false declarations were from what's his face? Mayor Adams calling the sanctuary city, but yet when they all came over, the guy was irate and he was all pissed off. Why are you sending them here? It's not nice, it's not normal, you shouldn't do that. So then you're actually, if you're not welcoming them, then you're not a sanctuary city. If I tell you, come to my house, I want to give you a meal, I want to take care of you, you know, you'll stay the night, everything will be great, whatever. And then you come over and I'm like, what are you doing here? But you say, but you invited me. And I say, well, I mean, I invited you. It doesn't mean I actually wanted you to come. Then you're not a sanctuary city if you don't welcome these people with open arms. So he got all pissed off. Now, the funny thing is, what do? They get off the bus at the Port Authority in New York. They're given cell phones. They're given money. They're given places to live. They're put up in hotels. But you have the fucking homeless people sitting on the street in Manhattan that are American citizens. What do you think they're thinking? How do they feel? Oh, look, all these illegal Venezuelans that came over, they get cell phones, money, and a place to sleep. And I'm stuck at the fucking Port Authority
So what?
sleeping on the floor. And I'm an American citizen. Is that fair? Is that normal? Is that rational?
So who accepted them? He sent them. Who accepted them and gave them the
They have
phone?
welcoming committees welcoming them from New York City, from the departments of not human resources, health and something resources, whatever. They were actually at the bus station welcoming them and saying, we're so happy to have you here. Now, here's the thing. They came out with a statistic the other day. New York City is going to be spending over $500 million to take care of the illegals that were shipped here from other states. Would that money not be better used for New York City taxpayers, maybe, that it's their money? Take care of the American citizens that are laying
they're
on the
being
floor?
hospitable, and they're trying to help people who are in need.
Ah, okay. So we have other ways of doing it.
Well, tell us.
Well,
John,
we'll
you're in
get-
the wrong job. You need to be in one of the political offices.
Oh, I can do that. The problem, I would fix everything up so
Oh,
fast.
I
You wouldn't even know
you
what
would
hit.
be the
They
perfect.
wouldn't even know what hit them.
This is an oxymoron, but you would be the perfect politician.
I think I would. But I would actually do what I said, and there's a difference. Anyway,
But
so let's just
everyone
finish up on
says that
no. I actually would do that. Now let's.
because you think it's easy to do. You think it's as easy as you are saying it is to do it.
It's not that it's hard. It's that it takes balls to do the right thing. And the problem is not everybody is willing to do the right thing. So what's his face? The mayor Adams should have done
Yeah,
is he should have, okay, you want to see what Mayor Adams should have done if he was smart?
yeah, tell us.
What he should have done.
We're all listening.
Okay, so here's my idea. What he should have done is, as those buses unloaded the illegal immigrants from wherever they came from,
Mhm.
he should have gone into all of the New York City jails, and he should have emptied all the prisoners into the buses and sent them down to Texas and said, oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sending us your illegals. Now we have a gift for you, prisoners. And he says to these prisoners, listen, you're going to sign a declaration. You are going to stay the fuck out of New York. You have a 5-year sentence. Okay, we're releasing you now, but you're not allowed back in the state of New York for 5 years. Oh, you have a 30-year sentence for murder? Okay, we're shipping you to Texas. Enjoy your life, but you can't come back to New York for at least 30 years, the duration of your sentence. You know how fast those buses would have stopped coming from Texas as they were filled with prisoners on the way down?
Why didn't you call them and tell them this, John? Why didn't
This,
you
it's not
call
my
you?
job. That's not
no,
what
no.
I'm there for.
No, as a citizen of New York,
Yeah.
it is your responsibility to help your politicians.
No, my
And if
politicians.
you have such great ideas,
Do you not think that's a good idea?
why Sounds brilliant to me.
Okay,
But how good is it if you just keep it to yourself and tell me?
I just thought of it now. What do you want?
Really?
I
Okay.
just came up with that
Okay,
now.
so you have a responsibility tomorrow to get on the phone and to call them and tell them what to do.
I don't think they're
I
gonna
think
listen.
it's a brilliant idea.
Well,
You know,
so,
when you give a gift, it's nice to give one in return,
well,
right?
that's
You
the,
can't
that's
be
the
a
concept.
taker.
Correct.
It has to be a give and take kind of thing.
This would have been give and take, and I think it would have immediately told these southern or whatever their border states, listen, there's going to be a price to pay if you do what you're doing. And that, again, when somebody lets somebody roll over them, then they continue to roll. But if there's pushback and the person says, and by the way, that leads into another thing, talking about like liberal states, gun laws, right?
John, you're trying to get me into some shady stuff here, but keep going,
No,
keep going.
talk about gun laws.
Tonight we're talking about California versus New York.
But this is part of it because both California and New York are very strict when it comes to gun laws, right?
I wouldn't say so.
Well, New York now has changed a lot because of the Supreme Court.
Right.
And okay, but if you're going to be a criminal and you know that for the most part, most people you're going to rob are not armed, well, you look at them kind of as easy victims. But if now all of a sudden you think they may have a gun, you're thinking you really think twice about committing that crime. So I had a point to this. I don't know what it was. I lost my train of thought. That happens every so often. Okay.
Are we having a case of dementia here?
No, I'm too young for that, I think. Okay, so yes, we were talking about guns and crime and things like that. So the bottom line is in liberal run states, they're doing a lot of things that make some bad things worse. And they don't do the things that can clean up a lot of the problems. That's really what my point is. And I'm being serious about that, whether it's homelessness, whether it's crime, people, wherever they live, whether they live in crappy states like California or crappy states like.
I am not going to sit here and have you call it my state a crappy state. California is one of the most desirable places in this country to live.
So why are you here?
I am not here. I am visiting. My home is California.
Oh, you're visiting. Okay. I didn't realize you were visiting.
Yes.
Okay. So when are you leaving?
We'll do the podcast.
We could do the podcast remotely from California and New
Yes.
York. We don't have to actually be in the same
Exactly.
location. In fact, maybe it's better if we're not in the same location.
Yeah. So anyway, why is it that you guys in New York have this idea that California is so crappy? Are you guys jealous of
The weather. Yes.
the weather,
Yes.
the beauty that it offers?
It does. Yes.
The technology, we're changing the world.
Yes.
We are the tech mecca of the United States.
Yes.
Where is the crappy? Where do you fit crappy and all that I've mentioned? I haven't even started yet.
Well, you brought up some
Our
very good
city
points.
of San Francisco is unique. It offers so much in this small little city. Perfectly crooked streets.
I've seen the crooked streets.
The
yes.
most beautiful bridge in the country, the
Golden
Golden
Gate?
Gate.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yosemite.
National Park. Yes.
We could
Been
get
there.
away when we want snow, Lake Tahoe. I mean, I haven't even gotten started yet.
Right.
So what is crappy?
Well, we have
about-
the Bronx. What? The Bronx isn't beautiful? You ever been to the Bronx Zoo? Brooklyn Botanical. Oh, that's in Brooklyn. The Bronx Zoo. Did I mention the Bronx Zoo?
That's the forest stretch. Oh, not to
Which, by the way, is
mention
free on Wednesdays.
Napa,
Being Jewish, that's the only day I go
where
on
we
Wednesdays.
have the best
Which park?
wines. Napa.
Napa. I'm not a wine drinker.
You cannot, as he sculpts down.
Kosher wine. Go ahead. Yeah.
So yes, John, I think that you know at this point of this conversation or podcast
Mhm.
that you really are hanging on to a very thin thread. And I think just about a few seconds ago,
Right.
it broke.
Ah,
And so,
so
now
you're declaring victory?
Yes, of course.
of course.
Of course. And here's another thing about San Francisco.
Yeah. I'm
When
listening.
you land at San Francisco Airport,
Yeah.
you feel like you are in the Paris of
It's a nice
the
airport.
USA.
Never
It's
been there.
beautiful. You've never been there.
Not the San Francisco airport. LA. I've been
How
to.
did you get to San Francisco?
Drove.
You drove.
Yeah,
from
rent a
Los
car. Yeah.
Angeles.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's very classy. I got off the plane last week and I thought, wow, yeah, I miss San Francisco. I'm glad to be
You
home.
know what happened to me in San Francisco the first time I went?
No, how would I know?
So we flew into LA, rented a car, and we were staying in a hotel in San Francisco. So we drive up, nice drive, very scenic and stuff like that. I think we went over the Golden Gate
So you're
Bridge.
admitting that it's a beautiful,
Yes, it is beautiful. It's very scenic. Yeah, the
breathtaking,
views are beautiful.
picturesque, and beautiful.
I already said yes. Don't push your luck.
Hospitable people, lots to do.
Yes, yes. So we get to the hotel, and there's some sort of like large gathering in the lobby, like hundreds of people in there and stuff. And I'm looking around and I'm like, it's like a little bit weird. I mean, there's a lot of people here, but I'm not sure. Are these like men, women, like what's going on? Like something didn't seem right, whatever it was. Turned out it was this giant gay convention at the hotel. And it was mostly all women, but half the women looked like men. So at the time we were like, okay,
So you were
being straight.
gawking. You were gawking over some men thinking they were women.
No, I was gawking over
No,
the other half,
Claire.
the feminine ones. But I realized they have no interest in me. So we decided this might not be the hotel for us, and we departed and scrambled
Were
back
you
to
guys
LA.
in the Castro district?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
What is
that's the gay part of San Francisco.
I don't know. I just knew it was a cheap hotel. At the time, we had no money, so we figured we'll stay at the cheapest place that we can. But
Mhm.
clearly, this was not the place for us, and none of these women had any interest in in me being there either.
Maybe they thought you were a woman.
It's probably very likely.
Mm.
Yes, I would assume. All of these
Yes.
feminine characteristics. I have like facial hair. That's like a big feminine characteristic also.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you have never lived in California. You've never even landed at SFO. But
At what?
You've never even landed at SFO.
Oh, that's what called San Francisco Airport.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Mhm.
And you have these opinions about this place that you merely just sauntered through for a few days.
Oh, San Francisco. I was
Do
gone
you
within
think-
2 hours. What
Let
do you
me
mean?
ask you, do you think that that's a healthy way to make a decision? It's based on very limited information.
Yeah, I like to make all my decisions based on
And-
limited facts.
And you don't like our mayor. You've expressed that to me before. You don't like our governor. You just don't
I
like
don't even know
our
who your mayor is. Who's
politics.
your mayor?
You don't even like our politics,
No, I
John.
hate your politics.
So here's why
Nancy Pelosi from San Francisco. Do I
what's
need to
wrong
say
with
any?
her? Do you know
What's
her?
wrong with her?
Yes. What is wrong with her?
Are you serious?
I am very serious. I'm as serious as a heart attack.
You're gonna make me start sweating if I get into Nancy Pelosi. Hold on. I have to dab my forehead right now. Nancy Pelosi. Oh my God.
But do you know, John, I know you're in love with the former president, Donald Trump.
Yes.
You love him. You
I-
have his hat on your website.
I don't have a
cap-
website. You mean on my WhatsApp?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. But that was just to
And-
piss you off.
To piss me off.
Yes, of course.
Okay. I know you love him and you're a Trumpster, but I don't hold that against you. And I don't call him bad names. Why are you making fun of Nancy?
You know what's interesting? Because the first time we started talking about anything politically, and I mentioned Trump, you know what you said?
What did I say?
I hate him. He's orange.
I did not.
Yes, you did. So you don't make fun of him. You just called him orange. You have no recollection of that?
I may have said.
Oh,
he's
I know you
orange.
said that. I know you said that. So, Miss, I don't make fun of
Listen.
politicians or Trump or anything. Right?
Listen,
That was your opening line about Trump.
John.
And you said it with such disgust in your face and anger. As much as you say you don't hate, I saw hatred.
Well, I'm not responsible for your interpretations of my facial expressions, but I am capable of hating. And in some ways, he does disgust me because he gets away with things that other people are being held responsible for.
What does he get away with?
Lots.
Like, give me an example of
Grab
what he get away
them
with.
by the pussies.
He was
paying
like,
off prostitutes.
that was before he was
Give
a
me a
politician.
break, John.
Okay, first of all. Okay.
Listen, if somebody in your life did what he did,
Can I say
you
something?
would want to see them condemned.
Let me say something, okay? First of all, in terms of him getting away with it.
He
Okay.
has.
So let me explain something to you about getting away with it. There's two there's two issues about getting away with it. One is his wife. That's between him and his wife, number one. And number two,
No. I disagree.
if there's anybody that he did that to that felt offended, they were more than happy to file charges and have him prosecuted, do
He
whatever they
did
want
try
to do.
and he
Okay.
paid them off.
Okay,
Are
well,
you okay with that?
well, it was a payday
But
for one of the
listen,
women then.
If
I
someone,
wish someone would do that to me. Grab me somewhere, let me sue you and pay me. I would do that for a living. It's not so terrible.
but you know anybody else who's done it has been held responsible.
Oh, right, everybody who's done
Okay.
it, everyone
The
who's,
taxes. How do you feel that every year you are obligated to pay taxes and he hasn't paid any?
okay, so let's talk about, you wanna
You
talk
know
about
what?
taxes?
No,
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 no.
no, let's talk about taxes. Let's talk about taxes. We're gonna
Let's
talk
talk-
about taxes right now,
John,
okay?
How can
Here-
you say that?
I'm gonna tell you, because when it comes to taxes, there is tax law. That tax law is set by the US Congress. And if somebody has the ability to play within the rules and not pay tax based on the rules of the tax law, why would they do anything else? If I had a mechanism of not paying income tax based off of deductions, write-offs, whatever it is, and it's all legal, am I voluntarily going to start paying taxes and giving away money that I don't have to pay? No, I'll donate it on the side if I want to charity, but why would I give it to the government that's going to spend it and piss it away? This country, by the way, in case you don't know, Miss Native of Guyana, this country is over $30 trillion in debt and has a budget deficit every year, which means the debt is getting worse and worse every year. If you ran your personal finances the way this country does, you'd be bankrupt and no one would give you or loan you anything. You know all that nice furniture you told me about? Yeah, you wouldn't be able to buy that. You'd have no credit, okay? They'd be coming to your house and taking your furniture and selling it at auction, okay?
So John, you are okay.
Nothing to say about that?
No, I'm not
Oh,
even
okay.
gonna go to, when you try to push me down a slippery slope,
Mm.
I'm not just gonna go because you're trying to push me there.
Oh, you're gonna go.
I'm very much in control of what's happening here.
Because you have no answer.
And by the way, I don't know how we ended up on Trump, because tonight
You
is
brought him up because you said
California
about my,
versus New York.
oh, right, well, Trump was from New York.
I see.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
kind of does tie, but you mentioned Trump, I didn't mention Trump, because of my WhatsApp picture with the MAGA hat. Oh, by the way, MAGA, Make America Great, not exactly an offensive slogan either.
Well, did he make America great?
Oh, he most
America
certainly
was
did.
always great.
No, America had some great times and America had some pretty bad times. Go back to when Jimmy Carter, see, you're
was-
underestimating my intelligence level. That you want to throw some things out there, but I'm gonna come right back at you with the things that America did that really wasn't so great. During the Vietnam War, not so great. During the Carter administration, not so great. Reagan, great, yes. George Bush, the father, not so terrible. The son, not so terrible.
But
Bill Clinton was great. I like Bill Clinton.
Oh my God, I'm gonna fall off of my chair.
He was a great
You like
Bill Clinton. I don't agree with his personal life, nor do I agree with Trump's personal life. But guess what? I don't give a shit about a politician's personal life. What I care about is their policies. What they do in their
Well, I
personal time, I
agree,
don't care about.
I agree with that. But for me, when I see hypocrisy and it's blatant or it's stifling me, I have a problem.
Yeah.
And I believe the former president was guilty of a lot of the things he was trying to get people nailed for.
Such as?
I'm not going down.
No,
that
you have to
line.
back things up with facts. You can't just make a statement and get away with it. You need to back things up with facts. If you can't back it up with facts, then your argument is a complete and total farce and waste of time. I can make a statement then run away, but I have to be able to back my statement. Look,
Well,
right now we're
listen,
doing a
I
podcast.
can-
People can fact check everything that we're saying, right?
Right.
So when you make a statement, back it up with facts so that it's
Okay,
legit.
I can back it up with facts, but I don't want to take this down the political road
No,
tonight.
too late. You don't have any facts.
Oh, no, I don't have any facts. I'm just a crazy lady who is just trying to oppose all of your
You're a
views.
crazy lady who lowered her media standards tremendously in order to accommodate. me
No,
on this
I like
podcast.
this. I think it's great that we have you on this podcast because you're
Oh,
very.
wait, so you have,
intimidating.
it's so great that you have me. So this is your podcast. I'm just a guest, right?
You're just a guest on
I thought we're
my
on equal
podcast.
footing. We're not equal footing.
Okay, we're on equal footing, but you,
Does have to be a butt to that.
okay,
Equal footing means equal footing.
let's remove the butt and we'll just leave the legs.
Okay, fine.
We're taking out the butt, we're keeping the legs. But John, I have to say that you You have some really good opinions, and I love your passion.
Yeah,
This is why I agreed to do this podcast with you.
right.
But I have to tell you, we have deviated tremendously from the topics.
I tend to do that.
So, New York versus California.
I'm willing
How
to
long
hand-
have we been on here now?
I'm willing to hand you the victory that
No, I
California is better than New York. You win. You have
No,
it?
it's not about
You
that.
won.
No, I am not trying to win. I'm not trying to win. What I want to do is, I want the people listening to this to hear from someone who lives in New York and to hear from someone who's lived many, many years in California.
Well, I lived for 50 years in New York. That's a lot more years than you lived in California
Well, I lived there long enough to know what
How
I'm
many years is
talking
it?
about, 37.
versus 50.
So,
So I think that I probably. All right, no, it's fair. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, it's it. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
so I feel that having spent some time in New York, people have some very convoluted and
Perspectives.
misconceived perceptions of California. And I don't know where it's coming from, and I just decided it had
Jealousy.
to be
Right? That we can say. Clearly intense jealousy. Okay, fine. That's why I'm jealous. Okay. I said you win. I'm jealous. I'm packing my shit and I'm going. Okay. Is that what you want?
I cannot believe you pulled that word right out of my
'Cause
mouth.
I knew where you're going with it.
No, because seriously, to me, you can't even compare the two. The only comparison I see is that they're both sort of cosmopolitan. You have a whole influx of people coming in here from the Caribbean and in San
A melting
Francisco.
pot.
Yeah, and in San Francisco, we have more from the Asian continent. Because I think,
There's a lot of that in Queens. A lot of Asians.
so wait, I was told that San Francisco is a port of entry from the Asian countries. And that New York is a port of entry for people coming in from the Caribbean.
Oh, we have the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. I mean, you can't get a better port of entry than that.
Well,
World
okay,
renowned.
well, okay, so I'm surprised you have as many Asians here as you have. to
Loaded
take
with
pictures.
Asians. But you know what? The Asians are great. When I went to Queens College many years ago, every science class, every math class, every physics, chemistry was filled with Asians. They didn't even speak English, and they were in every advanced mathematical and science class. And you know what? They would graduate, they would be with honors. By the time they were done with college, 4 years later, they spoke English. They went on to great careers. They had a great family life, great work ethic. And I think the Asians were some of the most successful immigrants into this
I
country.
have a tremendous amount of respect.
They're amazing. Of course,
Not-
half of them are probably spies for China, but still, they've done great.
Not only them,
Do you
but
have COVID?
no, I
Did
don't.
you just give me COVID?
I have never had
Did you?
COVID. And
Do you have
will
COVID?
never get COVID.
Go take a home test right now. Do you have a home test? I think you have COVID.
I don't.
You
have-
just got me sick. I have COVID now. I'm feeling faint.
So welcome to the world,
I'm
John.
feeling faint.
Welcome to the world.
Yes,
COVID is going around and everyone is getting it. It doesn't
I
discriminate.
already had it.
I've never had it.
You have it
John,
now.
are you giving me COVID?
I did.
John, I think you.
I
gave
do
me
not have
COVID.
COVID.
You do.
I had it in October
You
of
just told
21.
me you had it.
No, I said you just gave it to me. So now, yeah, you're right. I have it, but I got it from you.
How can I give you something I don't have?
I think you have it. I
Okay.
could tell that cough.
So I thought you
It's a
were
COVID cough.
a broker. I didn't know you're a doctor.
I don't talk about my my career
Okay. Forget it.
or my
So-
medical degree or my law degree
Okay.
or my political degree.
Okay. Yes, you do
have a
have
lot
a
of degrees.
political, I know, yeah.
I have been told by many people. Now, I know you've been told by many people many things also, because you tell me that all the time. But I have been told by many people that I could have made a phenomenal lawyer or a phenomenal politician.
It's not too late, John.
course it's
You're
too late.
very young.
Maybe you don't know much about my past. You know, if I
No, I don't know
decided to run
anything
for,
about you.
let's keep it that way. Because if I decided to run for political office,
Yes.
that campaign would be over really, really quickly. Too many skeletons in the closet from many, many years ago.
Ooh,
Bad
John,
things, bad
tell
things,
us,
bad
come on,
things.
shorty.
That'll be on a whole
No,
different
let's hear
podcast.
about your skeletons.
Mm-mm.
What did you do? Tell us.
No.
Did you?
Oh, look, we're out of time. Well, it was so nice being here today. What a pleasure. Thank you, Jenny, for having me. This was great. Oh,
I didn't have you.
I was
This
just
is
gonna
our
correct that.
show.
Thank you for putting the show together for us. It was wonderful. And I'm sure that that the feedback you get from this about my performance will be phenomenal. I don't know what the feedback will be about yours, but we'll definitely I'll be in high demand to do this again, I'm sure. So
My phone is already ringing and we haven't aired it yet.
how do you shut your ringer off?
So
How would
wait,
you know?
John,
Yeah.
we can't just wrap up like this. We did a show on California versus New York, right?
And I declared you the winner.
No. No winner's necessary, but you can't leave the listener hanging.
Okay.
So in a nutshell,
Yes. To
are you
sum it up.
going to say, I agree with you, California is far superior to living and having a life in New York? Because
I don't
it
care for you very
offers
much.
so
Did
much.
you know that?
It offers so much more to its residents
Yeah.
and its natives than is offered to the people living in New York.
I'm giving you climate. I'm giving you scenery. I'm giving you a lot.
You're not giving me, you're admitting.
I'm admitting it. It's
You're
fine. Okay, fine.
admitting.
I'm admitting it.
Yes.
Now, there are beautiful parts of New York also. We didn't get to that, but I'm focusing on what we view as the gateway to New York, which
John,
is the
can I
Manhattan
interrupt
Five
you? Can I
Boroughs.
interrupt you for the listener? I'm sure you guys will agree with me. John said he wants everybody from New York to hightail out of here because it's a slum.
Right. I say pack your shit and go. We'd like to lighten up the traffic around here. And apparently, based on Jenny and her observations about California, clearly it is a much better quality of life, a much more scenic and beautiful place to be. And for all those considering the move, I highly recommend let's get going.
Thank you for listening to our debut podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed John. He is hilarious, as you can tell, and very opinionated.
And very handsome. You didn't mention that.
Oh, and he's also very
Extremely handsome.
Extremely
Yes.
handsome. And he clearly is not an honest citizen. He ditched his state, threw them under the bus.
But that was in
and
the
had
interest of honesty.
Nothing good to say about them. And so thank you for listening to us, and we will be back with many other how can you say that topics. See you soon. Bye.